City of legendary opulence once stood at the heart of one of the world's oldest civilizations. A bustling coastal metropolis described in ancient texts with such precision and vivid detail that it feels almost tangible. According to those records, this city was founded by a deity and later consumed entirely by the sea, erased so completely that it slipped from history into myth. For centuries, scholars dismissed the story as symbolic folklore, a poetic exaggeration meant to convey moral or spiritual truths rather than physical reality. This is the story of Dwarka, the fabled city of Lord Krishna. But history has a habit of blurring the line between myth and fact, and sometimes the accounts we're quickest to dismiss turn out to be the most unsettling. For generations, Dwarka existed only within the Mahabharata and the Puranas, ancient Hindu texts that describe a magnificent city by the sea, fortified, prosperous, and alive with culture before its sudden disappearance. Beneath the waves following Krishna's departure, revered, preserved, and passed down for millennia, the story remained scientifically unverified, a cornerstone of belief, yet firmly relegated to legend. Yet what if I told you that in the relatively recent past, within the span of the 20th century, the seemingly impenetrable veil between myth and reality began to fray? What if tantalizing clues started to emerge, not from dusty ancient scrolls, but from the murky depths of the Arabian Sea? The idea that a city described with such grandeur could simply vanish without a trace seemed impossible to the rational mind, a mere fantasy. But in the 1900s, as the world pushed the boundaries of exploration and technology, a new kind of quest began, one that would redefine the very definition of historical truth. Off the coast of Gujarat, a region steeped in history and folklore, whispers of submerged structures began to circulate among local fishermen. These weren't just random rocks. They spoke of patterns, of walls, of what seemed unmistakably man-made formations. It was these almost unbelievable accounts that ignited the spark of an incredible adventure, one that would challenge long-held academic beliefs and bridge the gap between ancient legend and modern scientific discovery. This isn't just a story about finding old ruins, it's about the relentless human drive to uncover our past, to meticulously piece together fragments of evidence, and to confront the astonishing possibility that what we once considered pure fantasy might actually be etched into the very fabric of our planet. The question that hangs heavy in the air, the one we're here to explore today, is this: how much of the magnificent, almost unbelievable myth of Dwarka is rooted in historical truth? How much of Lord Krishna's fabled city, once thought to be purely imagination, has been patiently waiting beneath the waves for us to find it? Think about that for a moment. An entire city, lost to time and tide, now slowly giving up its secrets, forcing us to reevaluate our understanding of ancient Indian civilization and the power of oral tradition. This isn't just history. It's a profound journey into the heart of a legend, a compelling narrative that proves the extraordinary can truly emerge from the depths. So, buckle up, because we're diving deep into the mystery of Dwarka, where myth meets archaeology in the most spectacular way possible. Now, let's talk about the very foundation of the Dwarka legend, the ancient texts themselves. If you delve into the Mahabharata, one of India's two great epic poems, or the Puranas, which are collections of Hindu mythological narratives, Dwarka isn't just a fleeting mention. It plays a central, vibrant role. Imagine a city that was not merely large, but strategic, a true maritime power, an economic hub that rivaled any other of its time. The Mahabharata, in particular, describes Dwarka as a magnificent fortress constructed on an island off the western coast of Saurashtra, a location chosen specifically for its defensibility and its access to crucial trade routes. It was built with astounding precision and divine planning, a testament to Lord Krishna's vision. This city wasn't just a collection of buildings, it was a teeming metropolis, a marvel of engineering and aesthetics. The scriptures describe palaces adorned with jewels, towering gateways, sprawling gardens, and advanced infrastructure. It paints a picture of a society thriving under the benevolent and wise rule of Lord Krishna, who established his Yadava clan there after their exodus from Mathura. Krishna's reign from Dwarka is a period often celebrated in Hindu iconography and narratives, symbolizing an era of righteousness, prosperity, and divine protection. The city was a sanctuary, a political powerhouse, and a spiritual center, all rolled into one. Think about the scale and grandeur attributed to this ancient city: fortified walls stretching for miles, houses built of gold and silver, bustling markets filled with exotic goods, and a populace living in harmony and abundance. But here's where it gets really interesting and tragically poignant. The same texts that glorify Dwarka's rise also foretell its inevitable demise. The legends speak of prophetic warnings, of the curse brought upon the Yadavas, Krishna's own clan, and of the ultimate decision Krishna made to leave his mortal body. According to the Mahabharata's Mausala Parva, following Krishna's departure from the earthly realm, Dwarka was destined to be swallowed by the sea. It was a preordained calamity, a divine decree that would see the city, once a symbol of glory, succumb to the mighty ocean. The narratives depict the sea gradually encroaching, reclaiming the land, until the entire magnificent city disappeared beneath the waves, leaving no trace behind for subsequent generations, save for the legends. It's a powerful narrative, one that encapsulates themes of imperial rise and fall, divine intervention, and the ephemeral nature of even the most magnificent human creations. The accuracy of these descriptions, the city's layout, its location, its eventual submergence, would remain unchallenged scientifically for millennia, existing purely in the realm of faith and cultural memory. But what if these detailed, almost architectural descriptions weren't just poetic flourishes, but actual historical records veiled in myth? What if the collective memory of a people, passed down through generations in these sacred texts, held a kernel of truth that modern science could eventually uncover? This brings us to a fascinating crossroads, where the profound spiritual convictions of an ancient civilization meet the rigorous demands of modern archaeology. Let's talk about the individuals who dared to bridge this gap, that, by all accounts, should have remained forever lost. The idea of searching for a fabled city beneath the ocean was, for a long time, met with considerable skepticism in academic circles. Imagine trying to convince your peers that you're going to dive into the sea looking for a city that exists only in religious myths. It sounds absurd, doesn't it? For much of the 20th century, the archaeological mainstream considered the Dwarka narrative to be purely mythological, beautiful, and significant for cultural studies, but not a subject for serious historical or archaeological investigation. The challenges were immense. The vastness of the Arabian Sea, the technological limitations of early marine archaeology, and the sheer disbelief from the scientific community. But here's where the unwavering vision of certain individuals becomes paramount. The pivotal role in this incredible quest belongs to none other than Dr. S.R. Rao, a remarkable marine archaeologist who dared to challenge the prevailing skepticism. Dr. Rao, along with the Marine Archaeological Wing of the Archaeological Survey of India, or ASI, harbored a profound conviction that there was a physical truth to the Dwarka legend. He believed that the ancient texts, so rich in detail, couldn't be entirely fabricated. This wasn't merely a professional endeavor for him. It was a mission born of deep understanding of Indian history and culture. Under Dr. Rao's leadership, the efforts to locate ancient Dwarka shifted from theoretical discussions to concrete, albeit challenging, expeditions. The real significant action regarding the search for Dwarka began to materialize in the 1980s, marking a new chapter in maritime archaeology. While the prompt discusses the 1900s, it's crucial to understand that the groundwork and conceptualization might have been earlier, but the actual underwater exploration for Dwarka truly gained momentum and received dedicated resources during this later period. These initial surveys, and Dives were not without their difficulties. The waters off the coast of modern Dwarka are often treacherous, with strong currents and limited visibility. The equipment was rudimentary compared to today's advanced sonar systems and remotely operated vehicles. Yet, the teams persevered, driven by the sheer audacity of their goal. What they started to find, even in those early, challenging days, were tantalizing clues. These weren't definitive proof of a city, not yet, but enough to fuel the expeditions and silence some of the naysayers. Divers began reporting unusual stone formations, geometric patterns beneath the sand and silt, and structures that seemed far too regular to be natural geological formations. Think about the excitement and awe among those first divers as they touched what felt like carved stone, not just random rocks on the seabed. It was an initial whisper from the deep, hinting at something extraordinary. These early finds, though fragmented and requiring extensive interpretation, suggested the presence of man-made structures buried under centuries of marine sediment. It was enough to transition Dwarka from a purely mythical concept to a potential archaeological site, waiting to be fully uncovered. The search had begun, and the sea, it seemed, was finally ready to give up some of its ancient secrets. What would these secrets reveal? And how would they redefine our understanding of history? This brings us to the heart of the matter, the moment when myth truly began its astonishing transformation into tangible history, the unveiling of the underwater city itself. Imagine the sheer excitement, the disbelief, as divers, meticulously sweeping the seabed, began to discern not just isolated artifacts, but a coherent, man-made city plan. The most compelling evidence to emerge from the depths was the discovery of a meticulously laid-out grid pattern, unmistakable proof of a deliberately planned urban centre. This was no haphazard collection of dwellings. This was a city designed with intention and sophisticated engineering, echoing the textual descriptions of Dwarka as a well-organized metropolis. Alongside this structural layout, archaeologists began unearthing a wealth of physical evidence that solidified the claims. Divers documented and recovered massive structural components, colossal stone anchors, incredibly sophisticated for their time, some weighing hundreds of pounds, suggesting a thriving maritime trade and a powerful navy. They found extensive fortification walls, built from massive dressed stone blocks, indicating a city designed for defense, just as the Mahabharata described. These weren't simple barriers. They were complex constructions, revealing an advanced understanding of architecture and engineering. Pillars, some intricately carved, were also discovered, suggesting temples, public buildings, or grand residences. Imagine seeing these massive pillars standing silently on the seabed, remnants of a forgotten grandeur. The discoveries weren't just limited to large-scale structures. The archaeological record also provided crucial smaller artifacts that acted as undeniable timestamp markers. Thousands of pottery shards from various types of vessels were meticulously recovered, studied, and catalogued. These weren't uniform. They reflected a diverse range of styles and manufacturing techniques indicative of a long period of occupation. Then there were the seals, a true archaeological goldmine. Seals, often used for trade or identification, provide invaluable insights into a society's writing systems, economic activities, and artistic expressions. The recovery of unique seals from the Dwarka site significantly contributed to dating and understanding the cultural context of the finds. What's truly astonishing, and perhaps the most powerful aspect of these discoveries, is how they so meticulously corroborated the descriptions found in the ancient texts. The textual accounts of Dwarka spoke of a city fortified, a city with grand structures, a city that was a hub of activity. The underwater excavations presented precisely that: evidence of massive walls, structures built with large stone blocks, a planned layout, and artifacts suggesting trade and everyday life. Think about that for a moment. A legend passed down orally and in written form for thousands of years, describing a city that was then literally found beneath the sea, matching those descriptions. This isn't just a coincidence. It suggests a profound continuity between historical memory and physical reality. The submerged city of Dwarka was no longer a myth. It was a powerful, tangible archaeological site, waiting for its full story to be told. But how old were these fascinating remnants? And how did science confirm their age? Now we move from the thrill of discovery to the rigor of scientific validation. How do we actually know how old these submerged structures and artifacts truly are? This is where the world of advanced scientific analysis steps in, transforming speculation into a chronological timeline, placing them firmly within a historical context that challenged existing narratives. One of the most crucial methods employed was thermoluminescence dating, particularly on the recovered pottery shards. Thermoluminescence, or TL dating, measures the light emitted by minerals when they are heated. Essentially, it helps determine when a crystalline material like pottery was last heated. By analyzing the trapped energy in the clay, scientists could ascertain when the pottery was fired, thus providing a date for its creation and use. This technique was vital for cross-referencing and confirming dates obtained through other means. Equally important, and perhaps more widely recognized, is carbon-14 dating, or radiocarbon dating. While organic materials are less common in an underwater environment, any wood, charcoal, or other organic residue found in association with the structures could be dated using this method. Carbon-14 dating measures the decay of the radioactive isotope carbon-14 in organic matter, providing a reliable age for when the organism died. This was particularly useful for dating any associated organic remains found within the submerged city strata. Beyond direct dating of artifacts, geological evidence played a significant role in understanding the timeline of Dwarka's submergence. Scientists studied ancient shorelines, sediment layers, and the geological history of sea level changes in the Gulf of Kutch region. The global sea level has not been static. It has fluctuated significantly over millennia due to glacial melting and other climatic shifts. By analyzing these geological markers, researchers could reconstruct past sea levels and determine when the Dwarka site would have been above water and when it would have gradually become submerged. This provided an independent, corroborating line of evidence for the age of the city. Of course, no archaeological discovery of such magnitude comes without debate and different interpretations. The precise age of the submerged city has been a subject of scholarly discussion. Some researchers present evidence suggesting a time frame aligning with the late Harappan or post-Harappan period, extending back to 1500 BC or even earlier. Others propose slightly different chronologies based on their own analyses of the artifacts or geological data. This isn't a sign of weakness in the findings, but rather a characteristic of rigorous scientific inquiry, where different perspectives are tested and refined. However, despite these debates, a general consensus has emerged. The submerged city off the coast of modern Dwarka is indeed incredibly ancient, with evidence pointing to human habitation and construction dating back several millennia. This places it well within the traditional time frame associated with the legendary Dwarka in Hindu texts. Think about what this means. The scientific community, through meticulous analysis, has largely validated the ancient claims of a highly advanced civilization existing in this region at a time previously thought to be less developed. The careful application of thermoluminescence, carbon-14, and geological studies has taken Dwarka from the annals of myth and firmly placed it in the chronological history of ancient India. But the crucial question remains: how did such a magnificent city disappear? The disappearance of Dwarka is as central to its legend as its existence. The ancient texts describe a cataclysmic event, a divine act where the sea swallowed the city whole. But what do modern scientific theories propose? How did this thriving metropolis vanish beneath the waves? Exploring the theories of submergence bridges the gap between mythological narrative and geological reality. offering plausible explanations for Dwarka's watery demise. One of the most prominent scientific theories points to a catastrophic natural disaster, a massive tsunami or significant seismic activity. The Kutch region, where Dwarka is located, is known to be seismically active, situated near tectonic plate boundaries. A powerful earthquake could have caused the land to subside rapidly or triggered a colossal tsunami that inundated the low-lying coastal city. Imagine a wave of unimaginable height crashing over the city walls, sweeping away everything in its path, followed by a permanent subsidence of the land. This kind of sudden, devastating event would easily align with the mythological accounts of the city being swallowed by the sea in a relatively short period, leaving little time for evacuation or recovery. Another compelling theory involves a more gradual process: the relentless, slow rise of sea levels over centuries. Global climate patterns have historical periods of warming and cooling, leading to significant fluctuations in sea levels. Even a gradual rise of a few millimeters per year, accumulating over hundreds or thousands of years, could eventually inundate coastal settlements. This process, while less dramatic than a tsunami, would still lead to the eventual abandonment and submergence of a city built on the coast. Saltwater intrusion would ruin agricultural lands, and storms would become increasingly destructive, forcing inhabitants to migrate inland before the city was completely consumed. It's fascinating to relate these scientific explanations back to the mythological narratives. The ancient texts speak of dire warnings, perhaps prescient observations of a changing environment, or the memory of past natural disasters being incorporated into the divine narrative. The idea of the sea gods, or a divine curse being responsible for Dwarka's fate, could well be a metaphorical representation of unstoppable natural forces like tsunamis or sea level rise. For an ancient people, such overwhelming events would understandably be attributed to divine will, a manifestation of cosmic power beyond human control. It's also entirely possible that the submergence of Dwarka wasn't due to a single event, but a combined impact of multiple factors. Perhaps gradual sea level rise weakened the city's coastal defenses and made it vulnerable. And then a sudden seismic event delivered the final blow, accelerating its demise. The coastal geology of Gujarat, coupled with seismic activity and historical climate shifts, presents a rich tapestry of environmental factors that could have contributed to such a significant event. Think about the cumulative effect of these forces on a low-lying coastal city over millennia. This combined impact would create a powerful narrative, both scientifically and mythologically, explaining how a magnificent city could ultimately be reclaimed by the very element that once sustained its prosperity: the sea. Understanding these mechanisms not only explains Dwarka's fate, but also offers insights into the resilience and vulnerability of ancient coastal civilizations worldwide. So, what does this extraordinary discovery mean for us today, and what more might we learn? The discovery of Dwarka, submerged beneath the Arabian Sea, isn't just a fascinating archaeological footnote. It profoundly impacts our understanding of ancient Indian history and maritime archaeology. It challenges and in many ways confirms existing historical narratives, forcing us to reconsider the sophistication of ancient civilizations in the subcontinent. Narrative of advanced urban planning and complex societies in India largely centered around the Indus Valley civilization. Dwarka's findings suggest a continuity and perhaps even parallel developments of advanced cultures along India's vast coastline, pushing the timelines and geographical spread of sophisticated ancient settlements. Its significance for cultural heritage and religious importance cannot be overstated. For millions of devout Hindus, the archaeological validation of Dwarka brings a tangible reality to foundational religious texts and stories. What was once purely a matter of faith now has a physical anchor, a compelling bridge between spiritual belief and historical fact. This fosters a deeper appreciation for their heritage and the wisdom embedded in their ancient scriptures. Dwarka becomes more than just ruins. It's a living testament to a powerful cultural narrative. Imagine the pride and reverence that comes with knowing a central part of your mythological tradition also holds a place in verified history. However, the journey doesn't end with discovery. The challenges of preserving an underwater site like Dwarka are immense. Conservation efforts involve battling the relentless forces of the ocean, strong currents, corrosive saltwater, and the constant threat of sedimentation that can bury or damage ancient structures. These sites require specialized underwater archaeology techniques, ongoing monitoring, and significant funding to protect them from both natural degradation and potential human interference. It's a race against time, and the elements to ensure these invaluable historical remnants are preserved for future generations. Looking ahead, the potential for future research at Dwarka is vast and incredibly exciting. Modern technology, including advanced sonar, submersibles, and remote sensing, offers unprecedented opportunities to explore more of the submerged city. What other structures lie buried beneath the sand? Are there more artifacts, waiting to be uncovered, that could shed light on everyday life, trade networks, or the specific reasons for its abandonment? We might uncover more about ancient Indian maritime technology, urban planning, and even early writing systems. Each piece of pottery, every stone block, every recovered artifact holds the potential to unlock new secrets about this enigmatic civilization. The story of Dwarka continues to unfold, a powerful reminder that history is not static. It's a dynamic, ever-evolving narrative, often hidden in plain sight, or in this case, beneath the waves. It speaks to the enduring power of myth as a repository of historical memory and the relentless pursuit of truth by archaeologists. So, what specific details do you think future discoveries might reveal about the daily lives of Dwarka's inhabitants? This extraordinary historical journey urges us to always question, to always explore, and to always remain open to the incredible possibilities that lie within the pages of ancient lore and beneath the depths of our oceans. Now, imagine for a moment what a day in the life of a Dwarkan inhabitant might have truly been like. We're not just talking about kings and gods anymore, but the individuals who walked those streets, traded in those markets, and looked out over the very same ocean that eventually claimed their city. What did they eat? The proximity to the sea suggests a diet rich in fish and shellfish, but archaeological finds could also reveal remnants of grains, spices, and agricultural practices we haven't even considered. Did they cultivate crops on the nearby land? Did they trade with inland communities for other food sources? The specific refuse middens, ancient equivalent of our trash dumps, could hold a veritable treasure trove of dietary information, revealing not just what they ate, but how it was prepared, giving us a culinary window into a lost world. Think about their homes. While much of what remains are foundations, future excavations could uncover more intact structures or even housewares. What were their furniture styles? What kind of pottery did they use for cooking, storage, or decorative purposes? Were there frescoes on their walls, telling stories, or depicting their daily lives? The smallest fragments can speak volumes. Even the discovery of ancient tools, fishing nets, agricultural implements, weaving looms, could paint a vivid picture of their professions and crafts. Were they skilled navigators, trading across vast stretches of the Indian Ocean, just as the Puranic texts imply? Or were they largely a self-sufficient coastal community, enjoying the bounty of the sea and the land? Their social structure, too, is a fascinating area for future research. The myths speak of a powerful king, Krishna, and a highly organized city. But how did the common people fit into this structure? Were there distinct social classes, as in many ancient civilizations? What role did women play in Dwarkan society? Were they merchants, craftswomen, priestesses, or primarily confined to domestic roles? The distribution of grave sites, if found, could offer insights into social hierarchy, health, and even religious practices surrounding death. The presence or absence of specific grave goods, for instance, could indicate status or belief systems. And then, there's the question of their belief systems, beyond the overarching narratives of Krishna. While we have the Puranic accounts, what were the localized spiritual practices? Were there minor deities, ancestral worship, or unique rituals tied to their maritime existence? The discovery of altars, amulets, or specific votive offerings could provide tangible evidence of their religious life. How did they interact with other cultures? The very act of building such an extensive city, as described, implies a level of technological advancement and perhaps interaction with other sophisticated societies of the time. Traded goods, foreign pottery, or even linguistic influences could reveal a network of cross-cultural exchange that stretches beyond modern understanding. The idea of Dwarka as a port city is particularly intriguing. If it truly was a major maritime hub, what kind of ships did they build? What were their navigational techniques? Did they use stars, currents, or early forms of cartography? Finding remnants of docks, shipwrecks in the vicinity, or even specialized maritime tools could shed light on their seafaring prowess. This isn't just about Dwarka, it's about re-evaluating ancient Indian maritime history as a whole. The traditional narrative often focuses on terrestrial empires, but Dwarka suggests a powerful naval tradition that might predate many commonly accepted timelines. It could challenge our understanding of ancient global trade routes and the extent of interaction between disparate civilizations in antiquity. Were they trading with Mesopotamia, with Egypt, or even further afield? The potential recalibration of historical timelines based on such discoveries is simply breathtaking. The very cause of its submergence remains a critical area of investigation. Modern science seeks geological explanations. Was it a dramatic seismic event, a sudden tsunami, or a more gradual rise in sea level over centuries? Detailed geological studies of the seabed around Dwarka could provide definitive answers. Analyzing sediment layers, rock formations, and even analyzing ancient sea levels through microfossils could paint a precise picture of the environmental factors at play. Understanding the natural forces that claimed Dwarka could also provide invaluable data for understanding climate change and sea level rise in our own era, offering ancient lessons for modern challenges. It's not just a historical curiosity, it's a window into Earth's past climate. Moreover, the technology used in ancient Dwarka merits deeper exploration. The scale of construction implied by the mythological accounts and what has been partially revealed by archaeology suggests sophisticated engineering. How did they quarry and transport massive stone blocks? What kind of architectural principles did they employ to withstand the coastal environment? Were there advanced water management systems, drainage, or even early forms of sanitation within the city? Uncovering evidence of such infrastructure would elevate Dwarka from a mere mythological tale to a testament to advanced ancient urban planning and engineering. It could force a re-evaluation of the technological capabilities of Bronze Age or early Iron Age civilizations in India. The comparison with other ancient submerged cities worldwide is also a fruitful avenue. For instance, the legendary city of Atlantis, while purely mythical so far, shares the allure of a grand city lost to the waves. But Dwarka stands on firmer ground, backed by both textual tradition and archaeological evidence. Studying the techniques used to excavate and preserve sites like Port Royal in Jamaica or the ancient harbours of Alexandria could offer best practices and comparative insights for Dwarka. Each submerged city presents unique challenges and opportunities, and by learning from others, Dwarka's preservation efforts can be optimized. The global community of underwater archaeologists has a wealth of knowledge to share, and Dwarka could become a flagship project, advancing the entire field. The implications of robustly proving Dwarka's existence and accurately dating its submergence extend far beyond Indian history. It could strengthen the argument for the historical kernels within ancient texts across cultures, forcing scholars to reconsider the relationship between myth, legend, and actual historical events. If a city as grand as Dwarka, so intricately tied to a divine figure, can be found, what other myths might hold historical truths waiting to be unearthed? This paradigm shift could ignite new interest in applying scientific archaeology to other legendary sites globally, breathing new life into ancient narratives that have been dismissed as mere fiction.